right, let's take a look at the shed. So I finally got done framing this out, and I was able to slap the panels back on there. And so far, I mean, even with the gap right here, I mean, I'll put a trim piece right here, but you can't really tell it's two different panels. Had it been one design, it would have been one panel across. And then, as you can see, even the small details of getting these aligned as if it was like one, you know, panel vertical, worked out. All that stuff is recocked, so it's good to go. And then this is 8 foot of clearance right here. So this is still all the space I need on the ground. Plus there's, I mean, it's 8 foot of head clearance, so plenty big. Doesn't impede anything. Doesn't impede on the condenser. And then, as you can see, I did some blocking, and then I kind of cut that off right there, just so, well, I can see it's not straight. I'll probably end up trimming it up just so it can be straight, and I'll install another piece. I use my, what do you call it? My oscillating tool to cut it, so I wasn't definitely straight on. Just noticing that now, so I gotta trim that up. And then I'll connect a piece for the soffit all the way back. And then since I pretty much ripped these down, so my fascia is gonna be the size of this. I just ripped it down, each individual panel. So and that's what I'm gonna put my fascia on. But since I'll have a gutter on this side, I installed those 2x4 block-ins every 2 positions, so I can hang my gutter on there, and it's not solely supported by a flimsy fascia board. So that's what I'll hang my gutters on. And then we'll just try to go inside of here while we have some amount of light remaining. It's getting dark. Took out all my supplies and stuff that I want to use. Make sure I have everything. In fact, I need to return those brackets. That's my return bin over there. So eventually, I pretty much kept all my receipts, but eventually I'm gonna have to, so these brackets, I can return them. I don't think I'm gonna use them. Actually, I might use them on these corners up there, just to tie them in the corners. I might use, looks like I should be able to use 3 of these brackets just for added like buy-in. I might just use one each of these brackets on these corners. I think that was the original intention behind them. I got some, I want to say these are whatever 6-inch slag that I'm gonna drive in here into the frame, into the foundation. So I got a box plus some. Then I got some hangers that I never use, but I'm gonna actually use some when I build a second platform, especially up there. And I might end up using, I'm not gonna necessarily use them here because I'm just gonna span from stud to stud. But I end up using some of these. I got some Tapcons, some 4-inch Tapcons, and a drill bit, an SDS 6-inch bit. So I'll put a piece of tape around it and drill down the appropriate distance. Then I got some oh, this is what I forgot. So this is going to be my door hinge, 3.5 inch, 50 pounds. So I'm going to use 4 each. 4 hinge. So that door should be rated for, that should hold a 200-pound door, which I guarantee these doors aren't next to 200 pounds, but they're probably maybe 100 pounds after all the lumber is on them, if that. And then I'm gonna install 2 each door latches with associated padlock. But I forgot I needed 2 more of these. I'm gonna put 4 on each door just to keep it symmetrical. But I only have 6, because initially I was thinking 3 each. But I'm gonna do 4, so I need 2 more. And then these are my handles, pull handles. What up? What's up? Huh? Okay. Okay, well, nope, leave that, leave that. Leave it. Can you please leave it? Yes. Go ahead and play. All right, soon come. No, do not climb up there. Soon come. I took him up the ladder earlier. It was a bad idea. But here's that little cutout. I mean, it's pretty tight up here as far as spacing, but so this is the space that I saved to include the vertical portion. And as you can see, I cut out the centerpiece right here. Once I have, so this doesn't really have a place to nail on this this underside of the exterior panel in. It kind of sits slightly on this piece, and it was slightly off based on how it was cut initially because this area was not squared. This corner was not squared, so it was slightly off, but the trim is going to cover this stuff. And how I'm going to end up supporting this is floor joists. So I'm going to put a couple floor joists right here. And then that's what my platform is going to be on. So I'll lose, you know, 1.5 inches space, but it's just a necessary evil to ensure that I have a solid platform right here and this doesn't fall in. And then that's where I'm going to use the floor hangers right here. So end up finding a 6-inch bracket. I know it's getting dark. 6-inch bracket, and I have 3 screws in there just to hold this corner section. But I mean, so far I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 piece of 2x4 and or 2x6s in the corner tied to the ceiling joists. So, and then tied to the corner post. So this thing is well supported. It's not going anywhere. It's not big enough to hold a lot of weight, but just in case, you know, a future homeowner decides to put an engine in this corner, I'm at least certain it's not gonna fall down. This was just to tie them in together, so that should work. And these are like, I don't know, 3-inch screws, T25 screws. So yeah, wasn't sure how much it was worth the space, but now that it's done, it looks really, really good. I'm not sure if I would have necessarily designed it. And again, this shit is not designed from anything. It's not like sketched up or anything. This is just, I was working with. The only thing I knew I wanted was a lot of storage, and I was limited by the space. So I knew I had to go vertical. And the rest of it was just build and try. Like I said, I knew I was limited by the space, so I kept it about 4 feet wide. And the drainage, even that was like secondary. I knew I wanted this space right here. I knew that much, so that's why this corner is here. But that left this entire cutout, and if you watch the previous videos, this is what I just enclosed. So I got additional square foot, and like I said, this entire space is still here, and it's not impeded by anything. So I think the next goal of mine is to put on the fascia, put the fascias on, and put the roofing on. The upper platform in here is just gonna probably be the last thing to do because it's already done on the interior. It's not gonna affect the exterior, and I can just do that at any given time. But I'd say putting on the roofing, and well, I'd say put on the roof paint, the roof, the fascia. That's the next project. And then after that, I can do all the trim pieces. After all that stuff is on, I can just do all the trim pieces, and it should be good to go. I added some additional pieces up on the roof. It's getting windy, but we'll take a little look up there. So these little blockings right here, I installed right there. 3 on each just to close off the ends. So yeah, this is ready for the roof to go on there, and it should be nice. I already got them right there, so I got to cut them down to size. They're gonna be slightly about maybe 5 feet. Those are like 6 foot sheet ends. So I think they came in. I didn't think they come in 10. But anyway, that's just gonna be a little bit of surplus pieces left over. But yeah, that's the project. Like I said, the next big project that I'm gonna tackle is just getting the fascia on, and then the roof. Particularly I'm just the backside of the backside is what is the hardest. So I got to get the fascia on the backside. And I apologize if I'm calling that correctly. Maybe is this a soffit, and that's the fascia soffit. So if I mention the fascia, that's what I'm talking about, because to me it's the face. I'm not sure about these technical terms, but the backside, I got to get the backside of that fascia on before I can get the actual metal roof on, because then I don't want to have to reach over the sharp edges, the zinc, the metal roof, to get that on, because obviously I don't have space from the backside to access it that much. So just gotta reverse engineer, and so that's why that piece is already installed on the backside and painted, and that's why those little fascia pieces, like I talked about, they're the width of this. I already cut some down. Right there. And then I have my I bought some lumber, some 8 foot 2x4s, and this is going to be the second platform. So it's 4 feet wide, so those are going to be perfect. Just cut them down the middle and they should fit. But yeah, that's going to be the next project. But this is going to be, I can't wait for it to be done. I am thinking about spraying the inside of it, just to give it a better look, but that's if I have time. And I'm certainly going to use a spray gun, like my Graco or something, and just like start spraying. I slightly want it, because it's so narrow, I probably won't use the gray. I'll probably end up using like white or something, just to make it visually appear like it's bigger than it is. And I'll just spray it white or something. I know it's gonna get dirty as a shed, but it's also a storage shed. It shouldn't get that crazy dirty. But again, it's not the end of the world if I don't paint it. The only reason I would paint it is because the shed on the opposite side of the house is painted on the inside. The walls are actually painted gray and the roof is painted white. And then the exterior of that shed is not painted yet, since it was already existing. I just knew I wanted to paint that one because it was going to get filled up, and just like the garage, before you start getting stuff in your garage or on your floor of your house, you want to do whatever projects you want to do for the most part if you can. So I painted that stuff initially before I loaded it up. But super happy about this little nook right here. It's going to provide so much storage space. And like I said, the only opening that's going to actually be here, get down off here. The only opening that's going to be here is literally the size of the door, and to the ceiling. That's the only opening that's going to be there. Everything else is going to be accounted for. It's going to be accounted for in space. So I might just end up hanging the bikes from this area, from the ceiling, since this will be opened up. I mean, yeah, that might be in the way to access stuff over there, but the stuff that I plan to put up there is just stuff like I said, Christmas tree stuff, and filter for the AC. Like, I know that those are only 2 boxes for a huge space, but as far as like how often you're gonna touch those, like maybe my what do you call it? Like my garden pump that I used to spray the weeds and stuff. Like stuff that's not really, it's not heavy, but it's also stuff not you don't use regular, maybe like seasonal. So yeah, I will eventually do a tour of everything I used to build this shed, because I pretty much kept everything out here. Today my bit, you can see right here, broke off the T25, the Harbor Freight, and I was like, wow, it was performing well, but it just snapped off. So I end up having to go grab one of my DeWalt ones. But I mean, it worked for what it is. For low torque application, I mean, you can see it sheared off. So I eventually had to, I'll eventually do a tour of this, just to give you an idea of everything I used in my bill. Like I said, this is not a SketchUp or anything, so I don't have plans for this. This is just, the plan is in my head, and it's already in execution. So super excited about doing this. Oh, something that I did not mention. Let's get a battery real quick. Let's get some light in there. So I did get the metal L brackets that I'm going to use on the front. So I talked about these L brackets. So it came in, it was like, I don't know, 50 bucks on Amazon or something, or not Amazon, eBay. But 6-inch tall, so I'm gonna have to cut off probably 1 inch, only because this is effectively how it's gonna look, except it obviously would be easier to put it on the outside right here, but it's gonna be a trip hazard. It might be a sharp stumbling hazard. So I should have done this initially, but I didn't have this and I didn't want to wait. So effectively this is what it's going to look like. So I'm going to have to cut off about 1 inch of it. Use my drill press to drill some whatever size holes inside. I just need one right here and one right here. And I'm effectively going to put one on this slab, one on that slab, and one down there in the corner. And that should be adequate support. The rest of the shed is anchored using those little pylons. So my plan is to effectively look where the screws are. So I see a row of screws right here that goes down, so I know there's a floor joist right here. I know there's probably nothing right here. So I'm just gonna use my drill a hole, and then use my jigsaw to cut a square. Closer to the edge, obviously, because I'll just mark out where the width of this, about 2 inches, and cut as close as possible. And then what I'm gonna do, so once I have that cut out, I'm gonna pretty much anchor this down in there, obviously on the inside, get it anchored down, secure, and that's gonna be what's gonna be holding this shed down, because basically this shed is not supported anything. Basically it's not supported from this foot in all the way over to the edge. It doesn't have any type of vertical support, vertical restraint. So this is why I said I should have done this before, but I didn't think to do it. But the shed does have a little bit of shake to it, and I figure this is the only place that it could be not secured from. So the plan, like I said, cut inside of this, cut a square, and then install this, drill in there, use my SDS drill, a couple lag bolts through here. So I'll put a couple lag bolts through here, and then some Tapcons in there, like one, and then the square that I have cut out here, I'll just feed a piece of board in there. I gotta make sure I account for this right here. I'll just feed a piece of board in there, and then effectively screw it onto this piece, place the piece that I cut out back on top of here, screw it in, and I'll end up caulking it like I did right there and paint it over, and you won't even know this was cut out. So that's the plan, and I plan to do it in 3 places on the inside. But these are the pieces that I got. They're 3/4 inch thick steel. The only thing that I'm thinking about doing, if I can find some kind of rubber or plastic piece, I'll put it there just so it's not in contact with the ground and water, just to rust and stuff that quickly. I might even paint it black. I got black paint. I'll probably just paint it. If not, I mean, this thing is not going to rust away before this shed is ready to be taken down, so it's not the end of the world. But I'll certainly have to cut it down. As you can see, it's slightly too tall, so I'll cut it down using my bandsaw. Hopefully that will work. It's pretty thick, but it should be fine. And then I'll use my drill press to drill inside of it, appropriate size hole, and that would be that. But that can come later. So yeah, that's the status of the bill and what's going on with the shed. So next up, roof and fascia. All right. Anyway, like me always say, like on editing.